Isabella Soulier, October 8th, 2024. Instructor Allison Labrie, Class SPCE 609, Section 803. A previously neutral stimulus change that functions as a punisher due to prior pairing with other punishers, conditioned punisher. The study of all human behavior, including public and private events, radical behaviorism. Increase or decrease in behavior due to the reinforcement history, behavior altering effect. A comparison of data produced from a measurement system to a true value or known standard. If errors are found, then this information is used to correct the measurement system. Calibration. A fictitious or hypothetical variable that often takes the form of another name for the observed phenomenon and it claims to explain and contributes nothing to a functional account or understanding of that phenomenon. Explanatory fiction. The surroundings and circumstances in which an individual exists that change from instance to instance, including settings, antecedents, and consequences. Environment. The process of ruling out the simplest explanation first. Parsimony. Represents the extent to which two observers report the same value after measuring the same event. Inter-observer agreement. A learned stimulus response. A learned stimulus response functional relation with an antecedent stimulus and the response it elicits. Conditioned reflex. A philosophical position asserting the truth value of a statement is determined by how well it promotes effective action and pragmatism. Indicates that a reinforcer is delivered after a precise amount of time or number of responses, with the time number not changing across reinforcement opportunities. Continuous schedule of reinforcement. A conditioned reinforcer which has been associated with a number of other reinforcers. Generalized reinforcer. The process by which operant learning occurs. Consequences result in an increase or decrease frequency of the same type of behavior under similar future conditions. Operant conditioning. Punishment that occurs in the absence of social consequences. Automatic punishment. A formally neutral stimulus is paired with an unconditioned stimulus or another conditioned stimulus, which now elicits a conditioned reflex. Conditioned stimulus. An attitude that the validity and truthfulness of scientific findings should be continuously questioned. Philosophical doubt. A stimulus is added to the environment following a behavior which results in a decrease in future occurrences of that behavior. Positive punishment. The assumption that the universe is lawful and orderly and that phenomena do not occur accidentally. Determinism. Behavior that is selected and maintained and brought under stimulus control as a function of its consequences. Operant behavior. Any operant behavior that results in minimal displacement of the participant in time and space. The operant behavior can be admitted at nearly any time, is discrete, requires minimal time for completion, and can produce a wide range of free response rates. Free operant. An environment, condition, or stimulus change that exists or occurs prior to the behavior. Antecedent. A stimulus that signals the non-availability of reinforcement. Stimulus delta. A functional relation between a stimulus and response. Stimulus change can have an immediate but temporary effect or delayed but permanent effect on behavior frequency. Contingency. The objective observation of a phenomenon. Empiricism. This schedule of reinforcement requires a specified period of time to allow for reinforcement available without specification of how many responses be made. Fixed interval. A form of assessment that includes indirect and direct procedures such as interviews, checklists, tests to identify and define a behavior targeted for change. Behavioral assessment. An operant that occurs more frequently under certain antecedents. Pass. Schedules in which consequences are delivered after a specified number of responses. Continuous schedule of reinforcement. The change in rate of responding over time. Acceleration. A group of responses with varying topography that all have the same effects on the environment. Response class. Size, color, intensity, weight, and spatial position relative to other objects. Formal dimensions of stimuli. Measurement procedures that capture every occurrence of behavior. Continuous measurement. A group of responses which share the same function. Functional response class. An approach to understanding behavior that assumes that a mental or inner dimension exists that differ from a behavioral dimension, mentalism. Reinforcement is delivered on a schedule independent of behavior, non-contingent reinforcement. The schedule of reinforcement requires a varying number of responses before reinforcement is provided and promotes maintenance and generalization, as well as steady and high rates of responding, variable ratio. The schedule of reinforcement requires a varying amount of time to allow before reinforcement is provided, variable interval. Any operand whose response rate is controlled by a given opportunity to emit the response, discrete trial. Experimental design in which participants have two or more response options resulting in different treatment procedures, pass. The physical form or shape of behavior, topography. Measurement procedures for determining how many times a behavior occurs, event recording. The process of analyzing and improving socially significant behaviors through the scientific method, applied behavior analysis. Behavior that acts as quick and dramatic consequences that result in long-lasting change with exposed individual to new reinforcers, environments, contingencies, responses, and stimulus controls, behavioral cusp. Behavior is reinforced when it has occurred a specified number of times. The schedule of reinforcement is utilized most often when establishing a new behavior, fixed ratio. Philosophical position that views behavioral events that cannot be publicly observed outside the realm of science, methodological behaviorism. Reinforcement that occurs in the absence of social consequences, automatic reinforcement. A stimulus is added to the environment following a behavior which results in an increase in future occurrences of that behavior, positive reinforcement. A fixed ratio schedule which presents a reinforcer after each occurrence of behavior. This is often referred to as FR1 schedule, continuous schedule of reinforcement. Stimulus is removed from the environment following a behavior which results in a decrease in future occurrences of behavior, negative punishment. A stimulus is removed from the environment following a behavior which results in an increase in future occurrences of that behavior, negative reinforcement. Behavior that is shaped through direct experience with contingencies shape behavior. Dependent and temporal relations between operant behavior and its controlling variables, contingency. A natural science approach to the study of behavior as a subject matter with an emphasis on describing functional relations between behavior and controlling variables in the environment, experimental analysis of behavior. A stimulus in the presence of which a given behavior has been reinforced, in the absence of which that behavior has not been reinforced, pass. The behavior that is measured is the same as the behavior that is the focus of the investigation, direct measurement. A conditioned punisher which has been associated with a number of other punishers, generalized punisher. A stimulus change of functions as a reinforcer due to prior pairing with other reinforcers, conditioned reinforcer. A response must occur within a specified amount of time after the end of the interval, or the interval is reset, may be a component of a variable interval or fixed interval, limited hold. A stimulus change that follows a behavior consequence. The portion of an organism's interaction with the environment that involves some movement of the organism behavior.